And so that we'll be able to post it onto the CMP training portal at a later date so that anybody that is unable to attend can go ahead and participate. And then I think at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Edith Gonzalez with Goldstar Training, and she will provide us with our information today.
I have my video off, everyone. Sorry. Good morning, everyone. I'm Edith Gonzalez. I'm the USDA Food Program Manager for Goldstar. Today, I'm going to be covering further processing. It's going to be some very basic information and then also some very in-depth, detailed information that we need to focus in on. I'll ask everyone to hold your questions or write them in the chat so you don't forget, and then we'll go over questions at the very end of the presentation. So if we can hold off questions until the end, please. Okay, so today's agenda, I'm going to be going over some important definitions for further processing. I'm going to be going over your available pounds. I'm going to be going over your cheat sheet for this school year and then your co-op management available in your Gold Star dashboard. So, first definition that I want to go through, I know many have had questions about this. What is a value pass-through method? A value pass-through method is through which commodity deduction takes place and further processed commodities. So, for example, we have fee for service, which is a value pass-through method. We have closed SKU NOI, regular NOI, and then rebates. Another definition that we really need to pay importance to is a single bank, since this is how we run our Idaho further processing through a single bank. So, single bank is total pounds requested by HRA is combined into one bank under the state of Idaho department. And this is completed for all manufacturers individually. And then I'll show examples of these as we move on through the slides. So you guys are able to see what a value pass-through method is and then what the single bank looks like. So what is a further processing program? So a further processing program is when raw bulk materials are diverted to a processor to be converted into an end product. So for example, cheese and beans to create that bean and cheese burrito. So these items you can find on our Gold Star dashboard will start always with the 4 series item number. So all our further processed items will always start with the 4 series item. If you are looking at a different item and it does not start with the 4 series, you are not allowed to receive commodity discounts from this. And then we'll also review further into our presentation what specific items you are allowed to receive commodity from. Okay, so we're going to go over one of the value pass-through methods that we use in Idaho. We only use two value pass-through methods in Idaho. So our first value pass-through method is net off invoice, so just at straight NOI. So straight NOI is when the processor, so this is a manufacturer, sells to a distributor, would be us, at a commercial price. The distributor then sells to the RA, which would be the school district, at a discounted price, and then we request a rebate with that processor slash manufacturer. And then just take in mind, if you don't have pounds at a processor, you will still receive this item but at a commercial price. And this is just straight NOI. Our second value pass-through method that we use in Idaho is closed SKU NOI. So this is a little bit different than straight NOI, and I'll point out where the difference happens. So same, we start off with the processor selling to us, the distributor, at a commercial price. We then sell to an RA if pounds are available. So then note here, this is where it stops. If you don't have any pounds at a processor, the transaction will stop. So then this is where if you guys place items on order that are, and it's usually going to be a pork, a beef, or a turkey item that you are placing on order. And if you don't have pounds, you'll see that item be removed from your order, and you'll usually get an email or phone call from us letting you know that the item's been removed, or we'll offer a substitute item because you can't receive that item with a commodity discount. Okay, now that we've gone over what the value pass-through methods are that we use in Idaho, we're also going to go over just what available pounds we have. So I will cover available processors and pounds available in Idaho. Reminder, you have requested a certain number of pounds from each processor for school year 25-26, and we will need to make sure you are utilizing the full amount of pounds requested by the end of the school year. When I mean the end of the school year, I mean mid-June. Total pounds shown are Idaho's pounds total as a whole. Each individual RA has requested a portion of these pounds. So you are able to see available pounds in your Goldstar dashboard. Take in mind, as I just mentioned, for example, Cargill Kitchen, 37,647 with 85 is what is currently available. This does not mean that the total 37,647 pounds are allocated to you. You have diverted a portion, if you have diverted a Cargill, of pounds requested from them. Same for all your other manufacturers. Okay, so the commodity pounds by manufacturer. So this is also found on your Goldstar dashboard. If you go into your available pounds and then select view all items, is where you will find this drop-down list. So this will break in detail. It'll give you the manufacturer name. It'll give you the manufacturer item, so your USDA code. So this is your raw material item, your item description, and then it'll give you a fair market value for that, and then the amount of pounds that were allocated. This is what's been used as of date, and then these are how many pounds we currently have on order, and it'll also give you the remaining balance. So the remaining amount of pounds that you can place on order still. And then take in mind, this is up to date. So all information is updated automatically within seconds or within minutes. So true available pounds are always going to be showing on your Goldstar dashboard. If you look at some of this information as well, you'll see that we have several materials, several manufacturers where we have several materials for. And that example would be Tyson, JTM, and Don Lee. So let me just point, for example, JTM. So JTM, we have pork that we diverted with them. We have cheese that we diverted with them. And then another one, Tyson's down here. So for Tyson, we have chicken, we have beef, and we have pork. So just take in mind that if you look at the regular dashboard, so if you look at JTM, it's going to give you the total amount. It won't break it down by material. So to be able to view material, you'll need to click view all items. So you're identifying to what specific material you diverted for that processor. Okay, so this is our cheat sheet. This is sent at the beginning of the school year to all RAs. So the main importance of our cheat sheet is that it'll give you all approved items for school year 25-26. So if you don't see an item on this cheat sheet, it means that the item has not been approved for commodities for the current school year. This cheat sheet also will let you know when there are open items. So example, an open bank is a material that all manufacturers is available to RAs to divert, even if pounds did not become diverted by you. So when I send emails letting you know that an open bank is now available as of date, it's letting you know that if you have commodity dollars still available, or if you just have any entitlement, you are able to divert to that processor, even if you didn't request pounds at the beginning of the school year. Um, this is important because it's letting you know that RAs that did divert pounds to that processor are not utilizing. Pounds become open because RAs have underutilized what they've requested, or as of to date, have not placed any pounds on order. This is when banks become open. Another importance, if you're looking at your dashboard, it'll also let you know that raw commodity item number. So this item number example, I'm going to use just Tyson, so you're able to see both. It's 100, 103 white meat, 100, 103 dark. So if you go back into your commodity pound by manufacturer. And if you look at Tyson, you'll be able to find the same item code, 100 dark. So this is telling you this is dark meat. 10103 white. So this is going to be white meat for chicken. So this is how you identify what item material it is if you're looking for specifics. And then on your cheat sheet, you also be able to see your draw per case. The draw per case is the number of pounds it takes to draw down one case. For example, if we're looking at McCain for those sodium tater tots, each case draws down 54.55 pounds of potatoes. And then as a reminder, just all our further processed commodity items start with the 4 series. Okay, and now the big question, how do I identify how many pounds I requested? Most of you have access to your WBSCM portal online. So this is a website. If you do not have access to this, you need to receive a user login and a password to be able to do so. If you need the link to be able to do this or request this information, you can ask myself or Sean for this information. So you would pull the requisition status report to be able to identify the amount of pounds that you've requested from each processor. So if you pull the requisition status report, you'll be able to see the ship to name, so to who this was diverted to. Take in mind that you will see your direct delivery brown boxed items on here as well. So you'll be able to see your pounds and then your direct delivery items. I'm just going to point an example so you're able to see it. If you look under the ship to name, you're going to see Americold or Northwest Division. These are your direct delivery brown box items. If you look on the ship to name and you see the name of a manufacturer, example Tyson or Schwann's, these are the number of pounds you've requested. So if you scroll all the way to the right, you're going to be able to see the material number you requested. So example Tyson, 10193 is pork. So the material code is pork for this, and you've requested a total of 151 pounds. Same thing for Schwann's. It's going to give you that material item. It'll let you know that this is cheese that you diverted and the total amount of pounds. You would need to add up each item line. And then you're also able to tell if you're having a little bit harder time filtering through all this. I would definitely export it into an Excel sheet because you can export this into PDF in WBSCM or an Excel sheet. I would export this into an Excel sheet so you're able to filter through and just remove all your brown boxed items. So I would go through and actually just make sure if you want to just look at your pounds, I would go and make sure to do a filter so you're able to filter unit on measure. And then you'll be able to see the difference too. Cases are your direct delivery items and pounds are your further processed. And I would filter through just pounds so you're able to only see your pounds on here. Okay, and now we're going to go into where you find what you've utilized so far or your remaining entitlement dollars. So if you go onto your Goldstar dashboard and you go to your co-op dashboard header, you're going to be able to see this process entitlement box if you scroll down towards the bottom. If you select your process entitlement, you'll be able to see drop downs on there, which will give you adjustments and spent. I'm going to review first what you're looking at if you're just looking on this page. So if you look at just your regular process entitlement overview, you're going to be able to see the available amount that you have requested. And then you're going to see a percentage. So this percentage right now is just telling you that you still have not utilized the full amount, that you still have 94% remaining to be utilized for your further processed commodities. So green does not mean good. It means bad. It means you have not utilized even half of your further processed entitlement monies yet. If you scroll down to entitlement overview, you'll be able to see breakages of your DoD, your USDA, and processed. So it'll give you the amount you allocated into these boxes. So for example, DoD, you requested entitlement of 1,422. That's what was allocated. For your direct delivery brown box items, you were allocated 8,906. For your further process, a total of 4,821 had been allocated. You'll also be able to see that spend, so it'll let you know how much you've spent to date and then the available amounts remaining. And it'll also give you a percentage just so you're able to track by percentage if you need to do that. Okay, let's go into detail. So now that we know just what you've have remaining of entitlement and what you've utilized, I want you guys to be able to click on your process entitlement. If you do this here, it'll give you this breakdown and you'll be able to see adjustments and spent. So your spent is anything that you've placed on order and received. So everything that you are seeing in the spent is not what's currently on order. It's actually what's already been received in. So if you're looking for items that are currently on order, you won't be able to see it through your spent. You'll only be able to see what you've already received in. So this is our process spending document. So if you look down at this, you'll be able to see that you have a date, a document number to attach it to, a manufacturing item number, our 4 series item number to look at this. This is the same that you'll see on your cheat sheet. So if you're looking on here, it'll be the same item number. Same, the vendor item number is our manufacturing item number. So let me show you. This vendor item number on here is the same as this manufacturing item number as well. So if you want to look through our 4 series or manufacturing item number, you are able to do so as well. It'll give you the item description, the manufacturer, and then how many cases were shipped on that invoice. So for example, our first invoice, you're able to see that you were shipped 6 cases of item 404679, just the patties. And the amount of pounds that you drew down on this invoice was 54.06, and total entitlement used was $80.57. And this will only give you your further process because you are on the process entitlement box. So this will only be for your 4 series items. This can also be exported into Excel or PDF. If you are trying to track what you are spending in comparison to what you are tracking on your end for your invoices, I would definitely export this into an Excel sheet. And then just take in mind, we do have several processors that have several materials. So if you're looking at Tyson, make sure you are filtering for only chicken items if you are looking to see how many pounds you've drawn down of chicken. So you could have drawn down some beef items or pork items from Tyson, but you want to make sure if you're only looking for your Tyson chicken, you're only looking at chicken items. And you'll be able to identify this either by your distributor item number or by looking at the actual item description. You'll see that if it's a pork item, you'll see a pork. And if it's chicken, you'll obviously see it'll be a chicken item. So I would take in mind that so JTM is one of those. Tyson is one of those. And then we have, I think it was another one. Which one else was it? JTM, Tyson. There's another one that has 2 materials. Let me look back here. Donley. So for Donley, we have beef. So that's a different one. So just take in mind when you're looking and filtering through that you're actually selecting if you're going to group them into material items that you're grouping them. If you're going to look through chicken for Tyson, you look through chicken only. If you're going to look at beef for Tyson, you're looking through beef only. And then I do want to point out there's another one on here. If you're looking at your process cheat sheet, I will send this attachment to your email when I'm letting you know that a bank is open. And then I'll also attach just what items are being open. So if I open up a bank, I'll let you know that it's currently open. We haven't closed a bank so far this school year, but if a bank is closing, I will as well send an email update. So just make sure that I have everyone's contact information. If you have any updated contact information that we need, if you can just let us know who needs to be added or removed from that list. So we have everyone's contact information up to date. And then I want to point out this one too. If you're just looking at your available pounds, just reminder, actually filter in to look at the material. This is going to group all requested pounds for that manufacturer. And that's the end of my presentation. If you guys have any questions and want to type them in the chat, or if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself so you're able to ask the questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. And I know this is a lot of information. I'm glad that Sean was able to record, so we're able to look back on this and review any of the information needed. You can also send me an email or give me a call so I can walk you through this. But the main important pieces is you're able to identify where you requested pounds from by pulling your requisition status report in WBSEM. You're able to look at available pounds in your Goldstar dashboard. So what current pounds are available for each processor. And you're also able to look at what you've spent up to date. So you're able to compare the remaining amount of pounds that you need to place on order based off the spent and your beginning entitlement balance requested.
So far, I see no messages in the chat box.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, if you have any questions at all, just email the USDA Foods team at sde.idaho.gov, and we'd be happy to forward any messages and answer any questions you have. And I do have a question here. It says, if pounds are not being fully utilized, does some of that automatically go into the open bank, or do we need to do that?
So the way that it works is yes, if pounds are not being utilized, I review those weekly to be able to see what's being utilized and what's not. Once I'm seeing that we haven't even reached 50% of our usage and we're now in December, is when I start to look at, do we need to open and bank, or does this bank, do we have sufficient orders being placed currently that are on order? If I'm seeing that we don't have sufficient orders being placed, so no orders pending or minimal orders, um, I will open a bank. So unless I send an email letting you know that that bank has become open, it does not mean it's automatic placed on an open bank. So let me go into this. So currently, the only items that we currently have open are just our Tyson, all our Tyson items, beef and pork, and then only dark meat for Tyson is currently open. And then we also have Cargill. Those are the current only open banks. If you are already identifying you are unable to use the total amount of pounds you requested for a specific processor, please send me an email and just let me know. So I'm able to also take that in mind when I'm looking through open banks, just so I'm able to identify the percentage or the amount of pounds that you are unable to use, and maybe that bank would need to become open if there's several other RAs as well who are requesting that are unable to utilize. I do say this, just take in mind the amount of pounds you requested. You are able to look onto your requisition status report. So if you're not able to identify what was the total beginning amount of pounds that you requested, look on the requisition status report in WBSEM. You'll be able to find this information to be able to see what you requested in the beginning, and then also look at your current spent. So if you go into your co-op dashboard, I would pull your process spending document to be able to identify what percentage you've used so far or current pounds that you've utilized and deduct from your beginning balance to see if you're going to be able to utilize that for the remaining of the school year.
Okay, I don't see any further questions in the chat box. We will go ahead and post the recording of this training in the CMP training portal, and I will notify everybody when that's available. It should just give us a couple of days, and it will be posted there so you can review it at any time. And I still don't see anything else, so we might just call it a day.
Perfect. And then if you guys have any questions or just want to send me an email or Sean, go ahead and send us an email or give us a call and we'll be able to answer any questions that you guys have. Or if you need to walk through the process to be able to identify either the total amount of pounds you requested or seeing what you've spent so far, I can walk you through that process as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Edith.
Of course. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.